So moving on to topic 3. Speaking of NXT, more wrestling. This is a topic I've been kind of teasing for a while. I want to talk about NXT call-ups. So for the general audience, if you're still sticking around with us, thanks. What NXT call-up is, so NXT is technically, by their own definition, the developmental brand. So this is used for homegrown talent or indie talent to learn the ways of the WWE style, whether it's TV, whether it's their wrestling performance styles. Learn that, get used to it, perform, and then if and when Vince or higher ups say, hey, we want XYZ talent, we'll bring them up, and then they'll be on the main roster and travel the globe and go from there. We're going to be talking about the NXT call-ups and the kind of success-fail rate that I've been teasing about for a while. Because, we, as an audience, as fans, as wrestling fans, we say a lot of these guys are not the talent is failures, but the call-up is not what we were expecting success rate. So I mentioned this pre-recording. Maybe I could have done a little bit more better homework on this, but I'm going to try my best to go through. I don't know if I'll hit all the talent, but I'm going to try and go through the talent that has come up from NXT, whether it was homegrown, whether it was indie and they moved in, and talk about the good and the bad and the ugly that has come from the all-coveted NXT call-up title. So I've pulled up some lists from fandom, from Reddit, and from Cage Side Seats of people who have moved up from NXT to the main roster at some point. So this list on Reddit is pretty chronological order, so I think I'm going to start with them, but unfortunately they only have until 2017, and then I'll kind of hop around between the other two sources. Alright, so we're talking about NXT 2016 when they rebranded. I think it was 2016, maybe it was actually it might have been early, 2014. We're talking not the talent show for wrestling fans, the NXT talent show, that thing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the actual, smaller show, wrestling focused, blam, going from there, and until hopefully current day. So we're starting off strong. The early call-ups of NXT are definitely a lot of success stories. We got the big three right off the bat. We got Dean Ambrose, also Jon Moxley, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, aka The Shield. The Shield obviously crushed it and have been crushing it since their call-up. They're probably the best success rate story out of all of these. There's a couple that have definitely been big, and we'll talk about them as well, but these are probably your biggest success stories of NXT and the call-ups. Obviously, with the Shield being a thing, being involved with CM Punk, being involved with Cena, and the Authority, and the compelling split when Rollins decided to go, and obviously all three have won numerous world championships, IC title, US title, tag belts, etc. They won pretty much everything. Mox is obviously crushing it now in independence, whether it's New Japan or AEW. He's had success there. These guys crushed it. Now, you can't really say too much bad things about them. There was a couple hiccups here and there where maybe Ambrose wasn't in the best storyline for him personally. However, these three were always being used. And that's the thing I think maybe I should talk about definition-wise for success-failure is I don't think success necessarily means championships or the top of the card, etc. I think my definition for success is going to be you're being used on TV and you're getting traction. The failure part is either you're not used on TV or just the audience does not connect at all for whatever reason. So obviously these three, they're the flag bearers. That is what should have ideally happened with any call-ups, or at least most of them, if you're going to put them in that light. Another big one we have is Big E of the New Day. When he was called up, he wasn't New Day. And, you know, maybe his call-up initially wasn't the best. He was tagging with Dolph Ziggler, and they had AJ Lee as their manager. And he was fine. He had an IC title run then. But, like, I don't know, his character wasn't getting over. Then him, Woods, and Kofi got together, and obviously, you know, New Day blew up from there. Whether it was them as the heels, or getting more comfortable and being more themselves, and obviously the fucking merch phenoms that they are now. Obviously, he's doing his own thing now over on SmackDown. So far, so good, which is great. Hopefully, they can keep that push for him. I do appreciate that when they did split brand-wise, it wasn't splitting the tag team of like, I'm going to beat you guys up and be my own thing. Mutual respect was had, and they just moved on from there. Do appreciate that. So Big E, another success. We talked about this guy in the last topic, Fandango. Fandango's an interesting one. I'm going to say success for him, but there was definitely a lot of down points in his call-up. We had the instant, like, shoot rocket strap on his back with the win over Jericho at Mania. And then Breezango has had its ups from what we talked about last topic, but there was definitely a lot of lulls in between. Overall, I'll say a success, but yeah, it took some time. It also took some time in NXT to get traction. He tried his original character, what was the name? Johnny Curtis, I think it was. But yeah, so I'll say success there. Summer Rae. It's an interesting one because she was always on TV doing something, but I don't know. Maybe just from a wrestling perspective, at least from what I was seeing, she could get it done, but it wasn't like I was compelled enough to be like, oh yeah, Summer Rae's wrestling, if that makes sense. Curtis Axel, another one that was around a lot, but I'd say failure just because, like, he never really got the traction. Like, I think the most he had was maybe when Heyman was managing him. And even then, that was kind of iffy. So, I don't know. Next, we got the Wyatt family. We got Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody Lee, and Eric Rowan. B-Team was hilarious. B-Team was great for Curtis Axel and some other talents we're going to talk about. Adam Rose, Bo Dallas, and... oh, shit. It was Heath Slater. That was great. That is something we talked about last topic. Taking something that's not working and let's put it somewhere else. And same with him, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas with being the Miz Taraj. That's smart. That's the thing I'll say about Axel is they kept trying to rebrand him, repurpose him. Like, he was always around. It's just he never got big traction like maybe they were hoping for. So... I will give them kudos to that, to trying new things with him and him, you know, putting in the effort to make it count. But yeah, just obviously unfortunately did not maybe get the traction they were looking for. So Wyatt family is the next one. These guys obviously had a lot of success. I would say probably Rowan the least, but as a tag team, Harper and Rowan killed it. Wyatt's obviously gone on to success of his own, whether it's the world title picture or his new Fiend character, or more recent Fiend character. So I would say these are all success stories. It's going to be interesting to see if Rowan now, since being released maybe a year and a half ago, if he wants to continue wrestling. If he doesn't, you know, that's fine. But I would still say his career for what it was a success. Was it a little shaky on the way out with that stupid spider and a cage gimmick? Yes. But, you know, whatever. It's all good there. And obviously Brody had a lot of success in AEW. Unfortunately, with his passing, you know, we can't see the full scope of what it could be, but obviously he had enough traction for himself and success that people believed in him there, and in general for audience sake that, you know, he found success. Xavier Woods, another success, but boy, oh boy, was this an interesting call-up. So we had Brodus Clay doing his thing, being the what was it? Funkadactyls and the, I don't remember, something Saurus, whatever dancing party gimmick this was, and then Xavier just took it from him, and like, what? It did not work. He never brought his Mighty Morphin Nerd gimmick up to the main roster. He did with like the look of it, but he never went full out like NXT with the success there. Obviously New Day, as we mentioned with Big E, crushed it there, so I'd definitely say success. And he's been successful in obviously spreading his roots in other avenues, whether it's up, down, whether it's G4, whether it's just being more involved in the internet community and stuff like that. Like, he's doing work for himself, so success there. Emma overall, or as she's now called, what's her... Oh, crap, I had it and then I lost it. She's in Impact right now. It's something with a T. I can't think of it. Tennille Dashwood. Thank you, Papa Griff. Appreciate that. Tennille has done great for herself. She's done really good. She crushed it. Her and Paige, who's actually coming up next, crushed it in the ladies division, really started building that up in NXT. When she went to the main roster, I'm going to say success technically. Once again, she was used on TV a lot. She did the comedy shtick with Santino. Towards the end of her WWE run, it was really confusing, similar to an Aleister Black situation. She had months and months of vignettes, promos, this new Emmalina character, where she was like this high fashionista, like, superstar. She comes out 1 week, finally makes her debut after all these vignettes, and then is gone. Not released, but like just taken off TV, and eventually gets released. Very confusing. Like I said, she's done well for herself, being the Tennille character, whether it's Impact, whether it's, indie scene. So, success, I would say, just a confusing ending. I mentioned Paige as well. Paige crushed it. Paige obviously being on, when she got called up to the main roster, being the current NXT Women's Champion, then winning from AJ Lee the Divas Championship, and then being around a whole bunch in the main roster, in the main scene in the ladies. Unfortunately, injuries here and there would take her out of that, but obviously she was a success there. Rusev and Lana, or Miro. I want to say success, because this is another situation of like, no, they didn't do maybe the full potential with Rusev, but I would say overall, like, it's another situation of like, what he was given, they made it work. Whether it was the Bulgarian Brute and the whole thing with Cena, I know he didn't win, but like that main eventer-esque spot and the US Championship, or whether it was him and Aiden English doing their thing for Rusev Day, like it got over. Like, there was some hiccups too here, like League of Nations. That was a whole thing. So I could hear it either way, success, failure, because of the missed potential, but I would say success. Obviously, he's doing good things over in AEW now. I don't know. It's hard to say without crowds if he's super, super over with the current character, but time will tell. Lana's an interesting one. I'm going to say this one's a fail. Not on her fault at all, but like, just, I don't know. It's hard. Like, she never got traction behind her. She did great as a manager, and I think she got a lot of heat for that. But like, she was in a lot of weird storylines, her and Bobby Lashley being a thing. Like, she started at the tail end, obviously tagging with Naomi, which I guess worked. Yeah, the Lashley story was booty, giant booty. Which I guess them tagging together kind of worked. But then there was the whole, like, 12 weeks in a row she was getting put through tables by Nia Jax for whatever reason. I don't know. That seemed like a fail. Okay, then we move into almost out of the 2014 section. We got a few more. We got Adam Rose, we got Bo Dallas, and we have the Ascension. Oh boy. Okay, so Adam Rose is definitely a fail. The call up. It's a tough one because NXT, he crushed it. Like, everybody loved his gimmick. It was a lot of fun. I think it was just a disconnect. Him, and eventually we'll talk about No Way Jose, which was essentially the same exact character. Just, it did not connect with the grander, bigger audience for whatever reason. And I think if maybe they reworked the gimmick a little bit, especially with Rose, maybe instead of having him be this like party goer face, if they kind of altered it to make it this like egotistical heel, maybe that could have gotten some heat for him and that could have built traction. It's hard to say, obviously, with like ifs and buts, but maybe if they tried that could have worked. But Rose, unfortunately, with the main roster call up, he had some things here like B team, but like overall I wouldn't say his run was a success. Bo Dallas is another one we've already mentioned. Like, he's had numerous different gimmicks, whether it was B team, whether it was Bo Leave, which he debuted as main roster wise, or it was the Miz Taraj. Bo's an interesting one that I'm surprised didn't work. And I'm not sure if it was just an annoying factor. The Bo Leave part, like, Bo Leave, it's weird. I've gone back and I watched NXT since the rebrand through where I first started watching it in 2016. So, like, I'm seeing a lot of his talent, like, where they started and how they built up. Bo was a weird one. Bo was a face for a while. He won the NXT belt, and then he just wasn't on TV for like 4 weeks and was doing vignette stuff. And that's when the crowd started hating him for the Bo Leave movement. And yeah, when he got called up, I could have seen that getting a lot of traction, being the annoying heel, but still, like, obviously working well in the ring. Just never caught on. And then the Ascension. Man, what a sad failure column the Ascension is. These guys destroyed it. Absolutely destroyed it in NXT. Both iterations. You had Connor and Victor, and then you had Bram, who's now in NWA, and Connor. Both did so good. Both iterations. Whether it was the feud between the Usos and them, or it was the dominant year-long run as the tag champs, they were loved down in Florida. And then just being brought up to the main roster once again, I don't know, it was that disconnect. I think the real dagger was putting them with Stardust. That was putting them in the grave, like just writing them off. It's such a shame that these guys couldn't break through and be a really dominant tag team like I saw they could be. But yeah, oof there. Kalisto, I think the only really success he had main roster wise was the Cruiserweight belt. Unfortunately, the Lucha Dragons was really popular, brought it up, didn't do anything with it. After losing the Cruiserweight belt and kind of being out of the 205 live scene, not really a lot behind them. They tried with Lucha House Party. They never pushed behind it. They just got thrown around by Lars Sullivan that one time. That was it. Man was good and talented. Could have used him. We got Neville. We got Pac. I'd say a success, to be honest. He was a Cruiserweight champion. He was U.S. champion. I know he had the superhero gimmick, which wasn't everybody's favorite. I know people wanted him more main roster, and I think that's what he wanted for himself, too. I'd still say success. The man was very popular. Obviously got over with his wrestling talent. I think that's a success. Like I said, I know he wanted bigger things for himself. If he wasn't going to get it there, he moved on. He did. And he's in that scene right now. But I'd still say success. Okay, now we get a lot of big names that have caught a lot of success for themselves in the column here. We got Kevin Owens, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Braun Strowman, Tyler Breeze, Sami Zayn. Another big chunk of success stories there. I know all these characters haven't necessarily been used to their fullest at all times, but I feel like the 6 or 7 of them have been constantly used. Like, they're in the picture somehow. Becky obviously didn't get her full breakout until the nose break, and then she found the man character and went, to the moon there. Not a Cameron Grimes reference, and has found success. And then obviously Charlotte's been crushing it. Sasha's been crushing it. Owens and Zayn, whether it's main title for Owens or mid card for either of them, they've been doing well. And like I said, they've been consistent on storylines. Braun took a little while. He never wrestled in NXT. He just got brought up for the Wyatt family. So that was a little rough because he was still a little green when he started. But obviously he, has worked from there, with the Wyatt family. And then past it, he's gotten the Rocket and, done pretty well with him. He's never been my favorite, but he's had success there. And then Breeze. Breeze's main roster, maybe this is a F, but I would say success just for the... Okay, it's a failure in one way for Breeze, and it's a success in another. Similar to Fandango, who I already brought up, Breezango, Fashion Police, and the NXT return. That's all success. I think the failure comes from bringing up the Prince Pretty gimmick to the main roster. It could have been great, and it was great in NXT. We brought him in for this dumb Dolph Ziggler love angle storyline. Summer Rae's involved. So bad. Just set up to fail. So, coming into it, he just did not have not had a good path laid out for him. Eva Marie. Okay, this one could go either way of a success-fail story. She's currently back doing her thing. I'm going to say fail, but her overarch is a success. It's a fail because when she was initially brought in, the wrestling talent was clearly not there. The heat was there, good for her to draw that, but the wrestling portion, not good. She goes back to NXT. She trains with Kendrick, trains with those guys. Wrestling gets better. She gets a little bit more confident in herself and her character. Heel NXT at Eva, great. Gets back up on the main roster. Still has that confident character, but then we do the dumb thing where she never wrestles. She's brought back now. She's not wrestling. We did a tag match. But she's doing something with Piper Niven, which I'm excited about. Excited for Piper, not for Eva. So it's a 50-50 here. She's very successful with the heat that she draws. And if she's confident in her character, she could do great things. If the wrestling can be backed up and she's put in decent storylines where she can do kind of stuff like that, maybe be a little bit more involved wrestling-wise and not just standing around, I think this is on the right track. But I can definitely understand the argument 50-50 of success-failure there. Baron Corbin obviously has been crushing it. He was okay in NXT. I really liked his Lone Wolf gimmick, but once he got main roster, they believed in him. King gimmick's been good, and his corporate gimmick has been good. Man, seeing some of these names is real sad, because Enzo and Big Cass. Holy crap. What a bonfire of, joy and pops that these guys got. Unfortunately, some drama. Those guys are out. But, man, when they were there, main roster, never won the tag belts. I don't think they won the tag belts in NXT either, unfortunately. But those guys had some success. Unfortunately, like I said, some drama there. Yeah. Apollo Crews. I'm going to put this in the F column. The failure column. Right now, he's finally in the success column with his new gimmick and the IC title. I think that's working. But other than that, man wasn't in NXT very long either, so we couldn't really get some traction there. Yeah, so there was that. What was the other big dude that had the NXT winning streak back when Baron was Lone Wolf? They had a match at one of the early big shows for NXT. Are you thinking Bull Dempsey, maybe? I think he's on the independents. That would be my guess. In English, Simon Gotch. Ooh, Vaudevillains. NXT, they got traction. I'm trying to think of their main roster. I think they did okay for a minute with main roster, and then unfortunately the accident with Enzo happened and the knockout. That Gotch was bye-bye right after that. Aiden made it work with Rusev Day, but I don't know if he ever found success for himself. So that's like, it's an iffy one. He did really well in commentary, like filling those roles, but yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one to say. Dana Brooke, I'm going to put that one in the F column. She's been on TV a lot, but I don't know. I don't know if she's really got any traction going for her, even with the new tag team with Mandy. Mandy's another one. I'm like, I don't know. And this could all be personal. I mean, clearly, personal opinion. Mojo Rawley, nope. Dead on arrival. Great in NXT, Hype Bros, or solo. Main roster, nope. Big fat nope. Nia Jax, I would technically say success. She's been involved, doing her thing. Has everybody hated the women's tag thing that's going on now? Yeah, but technically a success. Balor, I'd put a success too. Universal title right off the bat. IC, US. Wait, was he US? I don't think he was US. Good. Like, it's another one, like, was he used to his full potential that everybody wanted to see him at? No. But I would say success. He was always around. He was always doing something in the light. His recent NXT return, fantastic. Good there. It's going to be interesting to see if he sticks around or leaves once again. Bliss, Alexa Bliss and Carmella, both successes. This is another sad one. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, American Alpha. Oh, boy. I'm trying to think of fan reaction when they were on main roster. They were definitely used. I don't remember how they were received. And I don't know if they were ever, like, allowed to do what they did in NXT to get traction with, like, Dash and Scott Dawson. But obviously with Jason Jordan's injury, I'm glad Gable's still around. I wish he would. I haven't watched SmackDown really fully, you know. So I don't know how him and Otis are doing together. It seems to be working, but Gable's somebody that, like, really could be, like, really good main event scene. I really honestly do feel that way. I feel he could be a Mysterio underdog-esque because the man is very talented in the ring. It's a shame that the injury did happen and they haven't gotten pushed. Wouldn't like Rockers kill Bees Bulldogs. Gotcha. Universe has no love for babyface tag teams anymore. It's a shame. Bailey's obviously been crushing it with the rest of the ladies. Rich Swann, that's a sad one because of the whole allegations there. That's why he ducked out. That's a rough one to call success failure. Same with Austin Aries, drama there. Both 205 Live champions, cruiserweight champions, but weren't really around long enough to say a success failure. Both good talents, but Swan, obviously the allegations that I think proved to be false, and then Aries had some drama, so there was that. Joe we've already talked about with the last topic at the end, so main roster, maybe not full potential, but I'd say success. Injuries, unfortunately, plaguing that. Aries is a dick. Yeah, true. We got... Wow. I'm blanking on their tag team name. Was it just Dash and Dawson? Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder. They're over in AEW now. I don't remember if they had actual tag team name or if they were just them. Success. Well, okay. Revival. Jesus Christ. Thank you for that. Revival. Main roster. Probably not Success. That might be an F. That might be a failure. Injuries didn't help. And then, yeah, they were in some hokey storylines. So, yeah, I'm going to put that in the F column. Ty Dillinger, perfect 10. Unfortunately, not a perfect 10 on the main roster. We had moments at the Rumble. Fucking everybody, that first appearance at number 10. Everybody was going crazy. And maybe that's just because of the hardcore of the hardcore. And it's the big four, one of the big four pay-per-views. But fortunately, main roster, nothing. So I'm going to put that in the F. Shinsuke. It's another 50-50 one. Success because he's been on TV a lot. Not success because there's not a lot of push behind him to be what he could be. Could see that either way. Bobby Roode. I put that in the F. This man was glorious beyond contempt, and just we brought him up and didn't do a whole lot with him. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, so I know I've been chatting a while about this topic, so I'm going to try and just scroll through these other lists, bring up bigger names that I see and kind of talk about yays, nays. I'll probably miss people. Elias Sampson, aka just Elias now, I'd say success. NXT did not have a lot of traction, but once he's brought up to the main roster, being the performer gimmick, he's obviously crushed it and has been used quite a bit. Papa Griff brings up Drew Galloway, aka Drew McIntyre. Yes, he's a success story because obviously he left. I mean, if you're watching WWE, probably like left, revamped himself in Impact and Indies, came back, crushed it there, and his main roster now, obviously main event scene, won 2 Manias. No, one Mania. Yeah, so great there. Let's see who else we got here in the list. I think this one I've covered everybody. Yep, I have. All right, thank you, fandom. Lars Sullivan. Nope, that was a whole train wreck. No Way Jose we've talked about. Let's see. Hideo Itami. That was an F. That was a failure. Had some traction in NXT. I don't know if he ever really got a full, full backing in NXT also. Not like usage, but I don't know if the fans were fully behind him. And when he came up to the main roster, there. Let's see. Lacey Evans. I'd say success because they use her a lot. I'd say F because she didn't seem ready when they called her up. There was a lot of botches in that Rumble. She's not my favorite. Ember Moon, I'd say main roster call up. That was a F. Is she back on the upswing now? Both times she's been in NXT, we're doing good. Other than that, main roster, nope. Not a lot of success there for her, unfortunately. Nikki Cross, I'd say is another 50-50. I'd say yes because they're using her a lot and she's present. It's not what we were hoping for with Sanity. Getting called up as a group, I thought that could have been good, but it's one of those things where they call up and they have no plan. Same with Tucker and Otis. Oh, what the fuck were we doing with them? No, you didn't miss Asuka. She wasn't in the list that I saw there. She might have been after. The initial list was just up to 2017, so it might have been off. Now I'm in a ranking list, so it's all out of order. Tucker and Otis, why did we break up that team? What are we doing? Tucker's not even around anymore. EC3 called up way too soon, not because he wasn't capable, but you didn't do shit with him. And there's so many of these people, that were called up we're going to use for one thing and then we have no plans for. Riot Squad, that's probably an F, unfortunately. Authors of Pain is probably an F. The biggest thing they did was being lackeys for Seth Rollins, which would have been great, and then they gave up on that storyline, as they do. Sonya and Mandy's like a 50-50. I don't know if they really ever got really a big push. Aleister Black, I'd put in an F column. Ricochet, I'd put in an F column. He seems on the upswing now. He's on TV. Hopefully we can keep the momentum behind him. Iconics. You know what? I'm going to say Iconics kind of success. Now, reason for this, NXT, they were kind of hopping in between characters before they finally landed on the Iconics gimmick. They were tagging with each other for a while, but they weren't fully in their characters. Obviously, the Mania main event, or that tag match, was great. I know the split was bad, and that was probably the start of the downfall. Billie Kay did fantastic with her solo stuff. Peyton had a good match with Asuka, but that was it. I'd say success just because I think they had more than they did in NXT, but I could understand that one both ways. Andrade, it's a tough one too. He wasn't super over NXT, but obviously did really well. I think with him and the pairing of Zelina, I think that works. So I'd say success. Lio Rush, no, I say that's an F. The only really success I saw with Lio, like, he did good as Bobby's manager, but like the only thing that really caught my eye with him is when they started letting him wrestle, and him and Angel Garza crushed it for the Cruiserweight title on NXT for like a while. Buddy Murphy, down. Let's see. I think we already talked about Carmella. Asuka has done really well. Has she always been in like storylines we love? No. But I do think overall she has been a success on the main roster. So she's great. This list is cut off and does not give me everybody. That's okay. But names that come to mind, like you mentioned, the War Raiders. It's tough to say if they've had success on their call-up. I'd say no. But also, Hanson, I think the big bearded guy, he got hurt. So, like, they had a good program with Street Profits, who have found a lot of success. They had a program with them that I thought worked, but then, like, they went full comedy gimmick with War Raiders, which could be down. Not that the guys can't pull it off, but what maybe the audience wants them to be. Like the NXT takeover with them, Aleister and Ricochet was fantastic. Like, if they were more that character, those characters, I think it would work. With them coming back recently, time will tell, so I don't know if I can officially call it on them as of right now. Wow, I feel like I had names and then I forgot them. Kairi Sane, I'd say success. Kabuki Warriors, excuse me, was good. It's another one of those, like, did she reach the full potential we wanted to see her get to? No, but I think that was a successful tag team for what it was. Who else is there that I can think of? There's a couple talents that's not like an official call-up, but like they played both parts, like Cesaro, Usos, like they would go down there. Shayna and Toni Storm. Toni Storm's technically not a call-up because she's still in NXT. She went from UK to NXT, and Toni right now isn't being used. She did a small program with Zoe Stark. I'm a little worried about that. Like, she crushed it in UK. I hope they have something for Toni planned. Shayna main roster was great for the first 30 seconds. No, it was great up until post-Elimination Chamber. And since then, big old F. Big failure. it's just a lot of these call-ups that we mentioned either today or the plethora that I'm sure I forgot. It's such a shame. We have this idea for you. We want you on the main roster. Keith Lee, another example. Great. Let's push you to the moon. We'll do this one thing, and then afterwards, I have no idea what you're here for. Great. Thanks. Appreciate it. That was Shayna. Let's make her this badass. Let's do that. And we'll have you be this badass heel for Elimination Chamber. I don't even know if she went to Mania to do anything. And then we're just going to not use you. Or we're going to use you and we're not going to use your character's potential. So dumb. Same with Keith, it happened. He beat Orton. I had a program with him. There's that. People who should never be promoted. Dunn, Gargano, Cole. Tommaso Ciampa's probably part of that list. I think Cole, Gargano, and Ciampa have talked about like they don't want to leave. Riddle's another one I thought of as I was mentioning Keith. Honestly, I would say success. Especially his RKO or RK Bro stuff he's doing now. I think that's a success at the moment. He's been US champ, which is great. Good program with him and Sheamus. I'd say success. What was... Oh. To kind of wrap up this ball. Or tangent, rant, whatever you want to call this. There's rumors now, because they were on Main Event, of Bronson Reed and Karrion Kross getting called up to the main roster. Which makes me scared. Not because they're not talented, not because they couldn't draw numbers. Bronson's fantastic. I think his most recent this past year has been great with his WrestleMania weekend or the NXT TakeOver at Mania week, with the #1 contendership for the North American title, failing against Gargano that next night, but then eventually winning it. I think he's really blown up for me personally. I think he's great. Kross obviously is a fucking character that a lot of people like. If you want to bring these guys up to the main roster, fine. But please do not repeat the same mistakes we've been doing with numerous of talents. We have something for you for the first 3 months you're here, and then it's up in the air. Do not bring them up if you're going to just forget them. If you need to, do like a SmackDown versus Raw thing, like how some of the bigger pay-per-views like were brand versus brand, like you had Angle and Michaels. Do that. Do it. Like, Kross has a problem with X. Cool, we'll do the storyline with them, and they go back to their own brands and do their own thing. You're all under the same WWE umbrella. You can do that. Does it kind of call into your question your stupid rules they had for where people aren't going to show up on the other shows? Yes. Who cares? Who cares? Just please make use of these people to their full potential. If you want them, great. Use them. If not, keep them where they're at. Let them do what they're going to do. That's all. I don't know. So, success failure rate, it's an interesting one. Like I said, there was a lot of names that we didn't bring up today. So I feel like personally I was saying a lot of success. Maybe that's just me being the optimist today. But I'm sure if we really did a deep dive and I did full research of like every person that's been called up from NXT, we could be like, nope. Like, you remember Oksana? You remember this talent? You remember this talent? Just like, oh God, yeah, that didn't go anywhere. Maybe this will be a follow-up topic. I just feel like this was going a long time because there's a lot of talent. But maybe there could be a follow-up to this of just like, oof, yeah, why did that not become a thing? Who knows? But this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and I appreciate you guys hanging out, watching, and or listening today. Thanks for letting me talk about wrestling, guys, and humoring me with that. I enjoy talking wrestling with you guys, or just in general, just because I enjoy it. Just like, Marvel and all the other stuff that we talk about. So thank you for that. If you want to catch the podcast live, go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every other Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a sub over there. We'd love to have you in on the conversation. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. You can go over to YouTube and SoundCloud the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. And last but not least, #ad merch store, and get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us. It would be greatly appreciated. Once again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out, giving it a watch, giving it a listen. Appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.